Chapter 1. Awakening fire flickered in the darkness. Shadows knelt prostrate, heads bowed against the cold stone floor. A chant rose, deep and hollow, as if echoing from the bowels of the earth. A sound not of this world, yet it hummed in the bloodstream, like a song known since long ago. A hoarse voice cut through the chaotic sound, at once commanding and praying. Blood is power. Blood is life. Then everything sank into the void. He opened his eyes. An icy chill ran down his spine like an invisible blade. No more fire. No more chanting. Only darkness so thick it could be felt on the skin. And the smell of mildew striking his nostrils, as though no living soul had been here for a century. He lay on the cold stone floor, breathing heavily, his head throbbing, as if someone had struck him, and then stuffed it full of cotton. He tried to remember, but there was nothing. A vast emptiness in his mind. A barren wasteland with not a single tree, not a single footprint. No name, no age, no memories. Only a vague, gnawing sensation like a needle driven deep into his sternum. He should not be here. A drop of water fell from the ceiling. A dry tick, echoing in the void, like the first tick of a clock that had long stopped running. He sat up, every joint protesting. His eyes slowly adjusted to the darkness, and the surrounding space emerged dimly. Far larger than he had imagined. Not a small room. This was an underground hall. The ceiling so high his gaze could not reach it. Dark as an inverted abyss. Rows of massive stone columns rose imposingly, their capitals carved with rosettes and winding acanthus leaves. Intricate, ancient. Several columns leaned precariously snapped in. 2 stone debris scattered across the floor. Darkness pooled between the columns in thick patches where the faint light could not reach. There were corners that revealed only vague outlines. A fragment of wall, a shelf edge, a shapeless shadow. As though this space existed to swallow everything that fell into it. Rotten wooden shelves lined the distant walls. Empty, thick with cobwebs. Cobwebs so dense, they hung like curtains over the stone. Behind him, a section of wall had collapsed. Stone and mortar debris formed a small mound. Broken wooden beams, jutting out like bones. Beneath the rubble, a low stone archway was partially visible, its curve suggesting it might once have been a passage leading outside. But now it was completely buried. Only a few arched stones protruding from the debris. No way through. The rubble was thick, the broken beams tangled, dust covering everything. A few rotten wooden barrels lay scattered near the wall. Iron bands rusted, lids open. Inside was some clumped white powder. Perhaps salt, perhaps flour. Broken pottery, rusted nails. Fabric scraps faded to brown-black, mixed in the thick dust. In the distance, several stone columns stood no longer intact, their shafts marked with deep gashes, as if someone had swung a sword in a frenzy. A bone-chilling screech echoed from somewhere in the darkness, accompanied by a very faint metallic grating, like something stirring from a deep sleep. He steadied himself. His body was cold, his mind was empty, and a vast space full of secrets was silently watching him. He had to stand up quickly and find a way out. He braced his hand on the floor, and his fingers touched something hard. He picked it up, a badge. Its faint gleam shone through the thick dust, like the last ember of something that had once burned hot, then died. Its cold seeped into his skin. A phoenix wrapped around a sword, wings spread wide. Ancient in design but still intact. His heart beat faster. He clutched it tight, and from deep within the emptiness, between his lost memories, a voice whispered, "Blood, power." He shook his head violently, trying to dispel the feeling. Cold sweat ran down his temples. No time for hallucinations. He had to find a way out. He stood up, his legs trembled, his muscles ached, but they held. His eyes swept the stone floor. Among the debris, a broken iron rod, long, just the right size to grip. He picked it up. A cold draft swept across his face from the far end of the hall. He turned toward it. The rows of columns stretched into the darkness, many already leaning or broken. At the far edge of his vision, the darkness coalesced, distinct from the shadows around it. He began to walk. The soft patter of his footsteps echoed through the vast space, bouncing off the stone columns before dying in the darkness. The columns slid past on either side. He saw vertical grooves running down their surfaces, deep cracks eating into the stone. Some columns were worn smooth on one side, blackened by torch soot. Cobwebs trembled as he passed. A sound rang out from between the columns ahead, the scrape of metal being dragged across stone. He stopped. His eyes strained toward the sound. From within the darkness, a shadow lurched forward. It was larger than a man. Its armor was rusted, blotched with dark stains. dried blood, caked in thick layers. The helmet covered its face entirely, leaving only 2 hollow eye sockets. Its hand dragged a great sword, the tip scraping across the stone floor, throwing off pale yellow sparks, flaring and vanishing. On its chest, a faint outline emerged, the symbol of a phoenix wrapped around the sword. Nearly worn away, but enough to recognize. His heart stopped for a beat. It stopped, its head tilted, a slow movement as if searching for something. It smelled him, the scent of the living in a world of the dead. A roar erupted, hoarse and thick, shaking dust from the ceiling. Then it charged. The great sword swung down from above, dropping with tremendous weight. He rolled to the side, his shoulder slammed into the floor. The blade crashed into the stone. Debris flew everywhere. He scrambled up, circling behind it. The creature turned. The great sword swept horizontally at his waist. He leaped back, tripped over rubble, nearly fell. Before he could draw a breath, another strike came, tearing through the darkness. Clang. He raised the broken iron rod to block. His arm went numb, the rod bent. It gave him no time. Each step forward was a sword stroke, aimed where he had just been standing. He backed away, until his back pressed against a nearby pillar. It swung. The blow struck the stone column, debris exploding, black cracks racing down its surface like a spider web. He quickly slipped around the column. The great sword blade bit into empty air right behind him, tearing through the darkness. He stumbled over a beam fragment, nearly fell. The great sword grazed his hip, hot and wet. His hand hit the floor, pushed him up, and he kept running. A rotten shell fragment blocked his path. He smashed through it, wood splinters flying. Ahead, a large column leaned diagonally, its top resting against the wall, leaving a gap just big enough for a person to crawl through. He lunged forward, squeezing through the gap. The creature stopped before the fallen column, roaring in fury, slamming its sword against the pillar in a frenzy. Each blow echoed through the ceiling, dust filling the air. He gasped for breath, his back against the column, his hips stung, blood seeping through the fabric. The iron rod in his hand was bent. He could not defeat it. This weapon could not pierce that rusted armor. But one thing could. He looked at the stone columns around him, the cracks, the leaning shafts. One column stood nearby, split from top to bottom, old gashes cut deep into its stone. The metallic grinding returned. It had circled around the fallen column. He had to hurry. His hand tightened around the bent rod. Blood from his hip dripped onto the floor. The massive form slowly emerged, a towering silhouette against the dark. It saw him. It charged. He backed toward the cracked column, eyes locked on his opponent. The bait was in position. It swung the sword. The great sword came down, aimed straight at his head. He sidestepped, swinging the iron rod to deflect the blade. Redirecting the strike, the blade slid along the rod, slamming straight into the cracked column. The sword bit deep into the stone, the crack spreading wide. The column split in two. The creature looked up. A thunderous crash. The entire stone mass slid from its place, a colossal shadow plummeting down, swallowing everything beneath. The sound of stone, iron, and rotten flesh grinding together. Silence returned. White dust still hung in the air, settling in layers over the rubble and over him. He lay face down on the floor, covered in stone dust. His hip throbbed with every breath. He sat up. He touched his hip, finally having time to check the wound. His fingertips came away wet, but the bleeding had stopped. A shallow cut, not deep enough to kill. Beneath the rubble, a piece of rusted armor jutted out between the stones, motionless. A few steps away, the great sword's hilt lay half buried under a broken slab. He stood up, limping toward it. His hand gripped the hilt. He pulled heavy. Broken stone slid off the blade, revealing dulled steel. He picked it up. His hand went to his pocket. The badge was still there. He drew it out, the phoenix glinting beneath the dusty haze. His numb fingers slipped. The badge fell, a soft clink like a heartbeat stopping. He bent down to pick it up. The great sword propped beside him, his eyes never leaving the rubble where the creature lay. He tucked the badge into his shirt pocket, his hand gripping the great sword's hilt, heavier than he expected. He looked around the hall one last time. The silent stone columns in the darkness, the collapsed wall with its buried archway, and the rubble covering where the creature lay. This place had once held life. It had once held voices, once held light. Now only he remained, and a badge from the past. Where was this place? And why was he here? Perhaps the answer lay ahead. He dragged his steps toward the far end of the hall, without looking back. A spiral stone staircase awaited him at the end of the hall. Each step low and damp, green moss filling the cracks between stones. The walls on either side held extinguished iron torches. Black streaks of grease still traced across the vaulted ceiling. He set his foot on the first step. His hip stung, but he did not stop. The 5th step, the 10th. Each footstep echoed in his chest. No one was counting. No one was waiting. At the top of the stairs, a heavy iron door stood ajar. Through the gap, a cold draft brushed across his face, carrying the scent of mildew. He took a deep breath. The endless hunt continued. Then he stepped through the door, and every footstep echoed off the stone floor, like the countdown of something that had begun long ago. Something that would never stop.